welcome to my review for Ninjago uh, episode 5, I think this is. Actually, I can't quite remember what episode we're on here. I think it was episode 5, but I'm not entirely sure. It might be episode 6. We had another one, we had those two. I think the absolute worst was after this. It's been a while since I've made one of these reviews, so yeah, since I did the last one. And yeah, I think this is episode 5. So it's episode 5, it's The Message, that's the name of the episode. These episode titles, as I've said in previous episodes, they're very straightforward. They're not very creative at all. They're just, oh, this episode is going to be about a message. Because, well, you know, the message. It's like, come on, be more creative. Anyway, moving on from that, the title and the fact that the title is kind of bland. The episode basically starts off like the Ice Chapter official trailer did, with basically Cole doing a puppet show for the kids, explaining how they got to the Netherrealm and why. And, you know, this in the trailer was pretty corny, and in this it's still pretty corny in moments, just like very face palming, but it's kind of cute at the same time in the way of, you know, he's like a really great father figure to those kids. I mean, those kids are just think. I mean, granted, which I'll get to more in the spoiler part of this. You know, he's a great father figure, but he's also a terrible father, but a good father. It's one of those situations. He does a lot of dad things, which is a good thing in a way. But anyway, moving on from there, after that, now to the ninjas, scenes with the ninjas, we move back to Lloyd and the wolf, who are still looking for the mech and all that. And they run into the owl creature, which we've seen from the trailer, which I remember before the absolute worst episode, people thought this owl creature is actually the future dove, and the future dove can shapeshift into it. It's like, really? Really? Because they pointed out the face of this owl looks like future doves, and although it kind of does, I never thought that, because it's just like, no, that would be the dumbest thing. I mean, it looks like, come on. I mean, future dove is a joke character, but anyway. So basically that happens. They do find the mech. That's a minor spoiler. I mean, this, the season's, they've gotta get a lot done since there's, filler in this episode, season. So, they do find the mech, but we'll get more into that. Because when they find the mech, there's a kind of a very emotional scenes for people who are invested into the show, really big. But I won't get into that because it is kind of a major spoiler that I'll talk about that in the spoiler section. Overall, I would say this episode is probably maybe a 7 out of 10. I wouldn't give it anything. It was good. Some people say it was filler, but it's not. It does follow the main plot. It runs a little slower than I would say other seasons, episodes. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting all turned around here. This is why I need a script. I lose track and I just get confused about what I'm trying to talk about, and that's that. So, all right, where was I? Okay. So yeah, basically, this episode does follow the main plot. It's not filler. It's not subplot. It's slower than some of the other stuff, but still good. So 7 out of 10 for this, and yeah. Okay, moving on from the basically this main part of the review. This part is spoiler based, so if you haven't seen the episode, which I hope most of you have by now because of reasons, but I'm not good thing. So as I said, the episode starts off Cole telling the story. He's basically doing an impression of a spear, which a lot of people thought he did a good impression. Not really. He did a good impression for it being an impression, but didn't do good. It wasn't perfect in terms of her actual voice, but it was kind of funny, corny, but funny. So it's like one of those corny, funny things. As he's telling the story, kids run out, scared because he kind of. I think he must have went into detail and talked about how people So they're going, and here, basically, they kind of break the fourth wall. The ninjas again. They do this a couple of times this season, and basically, they say Nia says, "Is that appropriate for children?" Cole says, "Yeah, it's 13 and up or something." It said something like that, and because the show is PG-13, it's basically breaking the fourth wall without actually breaking the fourth wall. It's kind of one of the. After that scene, which is pretty brief, so again, you don't see much of ninjas this season. We haven't seen much. Probably we'll, probably see them more in the future episodes because the way I think. But anyway, we move on to Lloyd and the Wolf, who are continuing through the journey, as I said, looking for the mech. Lloyd is basically telling this wolf his entire life story, about Hermie and the Sons of Gamdan and, his father and all that. And, he thinks the wolf is just a wolf. And I honestly think it's going to be a key. That makes sense. I guess we'll find out in future episodes. But, anyway, moving on from there. Basically, he's telling the wolf, he mentions, he hasn't really told him about this, but he feels comfortable telling the wolf because it's just a wolf, as far as we know. And then he gives the wolf a name, well, tries to, and the wolf is kind of snarky on some of the names, but ends up liking the red name because, there's red on it. So basically the wolf's name right now, at this point, until it's revealed to be Akita, hopefully, is basically Red. So anyway, Red the Wolf basically does, they continue, they arrive in this sort of location where the wolf starts to, stop in its tracks like it's scared of something, and Lloyd doesn't actually understand why, and tries to comfort it. The wolf does go with him eventually still, and that's when they run into the giant owl demon looking creature with blue eyes. Probably a corrupted owl. A lot of these wolves that have these blue eyes and this thing, it feels like maybe they're corrupted by the ice. Not in the terms of being controlled by the Ice Emperor, but more just becoming more aggressive. So they battle it. The wolf goes up against. Honestly, they're fighting a giant owl creature. It's going to be difficult to fight this thing. So they basically fight. The wolf saves Lloyd, and they end up going into this cave thing where the owl can't get them. This is where they find the mech, which is basically, kind of broken, and also we get to find a kind of TV screen or hexagon type TV screen, which basically plays a message of Zane. So this is the first time we've seen Zane since the Ice chapter started. If you recall, he kind of vanished, and this scene was the thing that made this scene kind of more emotional for long-term investors was probably the fact that they played the rebooted music from when he sacrificed himself to defeat the Overlord, and they played that while he was basically, giving a heartfelt goodbye kind of message, and also flashing to like Wu and Pixel and the other ninjas, and it was just like, they were trying to tug on your heartstrings a lot. Afterwards, Lloyd heads to fix the mech so they can use it against the Ice Emperor, and also the owl, most likely, because, the owl's kind of out there waiting for them to escape and leave the cave. And yeah, so while he's fixing it, it's basically just montage. He fixes it, and then it works. Now, before we get started, I just want to point out a few things in the message that happened. When Zane did say the message, he mentioned that he was actually working on the Titan mech, and that in order to do it, he had to connect himself to it, and that if anything happened, like disrupts why he's doing this, something would happen to him. Now, this is also one of the major instances of the message that he is possibly the Ice Emperor, but also could mean some other things, which I'll get to in a second. Firstly, if he was disrupted, most likely he gets disrupted by Vex, or someone disrupts the connection. He loses his humanity like he feared and becomes the Ice Emperor, along with the corruption of the staff. As well as the Ice Emperor could just be Zane's body and most of the things, but Zane could have also uploaded himself to the Titan mech, some people pointed out. And that would be interesting too, having Zane's conscience in the Titan mech. And we don't find out until next season. That'd be interesting. They end up, Zane ends up dying in the end of this, or at least his body again. And unlike Rebooted, we don't find out until next season, maybe even the end of next season. That'd be interesting, because that'll be more, like everyone thinks he's dead, but he could still be alive. Because he could be in the Titan mech. I mean, a Titan mech is a piece of tech, and Zane is a machine with a conscience, but he's still a machine, and so he can think. So it's possible that Zane's conscience, which is a robot, could have been put in a Titan mech. They could do that, even if they have no plans to, and they don't hint at it. It could still be possible in the future, because he could maybe be in a Titan mech dormant until it awakens again, something like that. Anyway, that's just a thought. It's not really a theory, that's just a thought, and that's just a possibility, and they could still, even if they have no plans for it right now, they could do that. So, after Titan mech gets built, rebuilt, whatever, he breaks out of the thing, basically destroying the entire ice sculpture thing there, whatever it is, and then, the mech versus the owl happens, and, it's kind of like, it's a very bland battle. If anything, the battle with him and the wolf versus it without the mech was probably better, but, it was the end of the episode. What do you expect? The episodes are shorter. What do you expect? The episodes are literally shorter now, so there's not going to be... Anyway, I'm not that fussed on the fight scenes, and I don't really care for the owl. The owl's more of a side creature, so being defeated real fast isn't really a problem for me. The dragon being defeated fast may be a problem. And then after that, basically, he uses the Titan mech and continues marching towards the thing in the Titan mech with the wolf, basically, in the hand. And also another thing that happened at the end of this was just kind of like, repeated dialogue kind of thing. It's like, oh great, you're just repeating dialogue. As if you remember in the end of, was it Unlikely Ally? I think it was Unlikely Ally. He basically, mentions, he says, Lloyd, here we come. He says that again at the end of this episode, and it's just like, really? You're saying that again? Again. It's like, really? Repeated dialogue is never good. But anyway, that's basically the episode. Overall, 7 out of 10. It was good. Had some emotional scenes in it. But, very slow. Brought some levity for obviously Zane being the Ice Emperor. More evidence. Still not confirmed at this point. But, at this point of me doing this review and this episode being released and all that. But, it is more possible with that information. And it's still my thoughts on Akida's the Wolf. But anyway, that does it for review. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and check back every day for more views. I will hopefully get this edited in time. Probably not, because I'm a little slack. But I will also be doing the next review next week for next episodes. But anyway, see ya!